I mean. You have to be patted down before you see Madame Carlyle inside. I could cry.
That's a bit excessive, I think, considering the fact that I've spotted no less than 2 routes to get inside the house unseen.
We know what we're doing, sir. Don't worry about that.
Mr. Whitmer, thank you for coming on such short notice. A great tragedy has fallen upon us, and I need a quick resolution, handled with absolute discretion.
Results and discretion are my speciality.
Very well. I suppose you will want to start at the crime scene.
In my experience, a thorough examination of a potential crime scene is half the job done.
Good. Fernsby will take over from here.
I am Mr. Fernsby, the butler. Madame Carlyle has asked me to assist you in any way possible. Mr. Whitmer, I understand that you've traveled from London. Would you care for some refreshments? Or do you prefer to go straight to Mr. Zachary's sleeping quarters?
I prefer to get started.
As you wish. If you'll follow me, sir.
Greetings, sir.
Hello.
I feel obliged to point out that current affairs surrounding Madame Carlyle are of a delicate nature. You may be familiar with the recent announcement of her death. You will probably learn that a staged funeral is scheduled to take place tomorrow. Madame's children were not informed until this morning that their mother was in fact not dead at all. So please bear with them if they seem affected by a rather unusual situation. I trust I do not need to remind you that there will be consequences if word gets out that Madame Carlyle is still alive.
I'll consider her dead when I leave.
Before you inspect the crime scene, I will tell you this. The case concerns the death of Mr. Zachary, Madame Carlyle's younger brother. He was found dead in his bed this morning. The door was locked from the inside. It's foul play, and will not accept that he took his own life. I've prepared some information for you, so please do come and see me when you've finished your investigation of the crime scene. This is Mr. Zachary's room, to my right.
A locked room murder mystery, 47. I trust you'll get to the bottom of this. Zachary's suicide note. Also, a sample of handwriting. It could be relevant to compare to other samples to establish its authenticity. Zachary was shopping for New Wellingtons last night. Not exactly what you would expect from someone suicidal. Why don't you use your camera to scan the dead body, 47?
Throat markings indicate a rare, short-lived plant poison killed him. Spread shows time of death at around 10 o'clock last night.
You do know your poisons, 47.
front door.
It's a secret passage. This could explain how the door was locked from the inside. I'm sure there's more to find in Zachary's room.
So,
A photocopy of the floor plans. Somebody's been researching the secret ins and outs of Thornbridge Manor. I believe you've done a thorough search of the crime scene, 47. Maybe it's time to see the butler. I'm curious about the information he's prepared for you.
Mr. Fernsby, I'm done with the crime scene.
Did you establish a time of death?
Zachary died around 10 o'clock last night.
Well, that means the staff were off duty.
so how long
And
have you
Madame
been-
Carlyle and her security
About a month
didn't
ago.
arrive until this morning. That leaves Madame's family and myself as the only persons here when he died. And before you ask, no, I do not have an alibi. I was alone in my office at the time of death. Here's the material that I've prepared for you. It's a list of the possible suspects and their quarters. Hopefully that will help you keep track of your findings. Please come and see me when you've solved the case, and I will take you to Madame Carlyle.
This is very useful information, 47. So how does one solve a murder mystery, 47? Motive, means, and opportunity, I believe. May I suggest you ask the suspects for alibis? Or
Patrick
perhaps you prefer
Carr.
searching the manor for clues
Can you tell me
first?
where you were yesterday evening?
Do a very good job.
Shit, it's that sneaky butler, isn't it? He ratted me out. Elaine, give us some privacy, would you? Don't tell Mother, okay? She's really tense these days, and the last thing I need is more hassle. I took that pretty blonde, Rosie, for an evening stroll. I mean, how the fuck am I expected to cope for an entire weekend in this shithole? I'm bored out of my mind. If that's all, I think I'll get back to my slow death by boredom.
What did you think of Zachary?
Creepy as hell. No ambition. Imagine deciding to live in a museum. You know, Father says Zachary and Alexa used to be two of a kind. He had a great future ahead of him. Then suddenly, he just gave up everything. What an idiot. Thank God Daddy chose looks and brains over pedigree when he married Mummy. I don't have to worry about the inbreeding so customary in these circles. So, is that it?
Did you see anything suspicious last night?
No. I reckon Zachary topped himself. I know I would have. Or perhaps Mr. Fernsby. I don't like him. He could have done it.
Wow.
just remembered I went for a stroll behind the greenhouse last night. Maybe that's where it is. Why not fuck it?
Patrick talking to Madame Carlyle's daughter.
Rebecca? Yes. She's insistent, that one. She kept asking all kinds of questions. Who had the other one? Why I gave it to her, that sort of thing. You did make sure she didn't see you give the other one to the butler?
Of course.
Hey, how are you?
I don't believe for a second Zachary committed suicide. We'd only just run through his plan for the spring seedlings yesterday.
Yes, sure. But he was upset believing his sister was dead.
I'd say worried about how things would be handled with Gregory and Emma taking over. I said they let him stay here, but Ethel was sure Emma would throw him out first chance she got. And now we'll never know.
Oh my. You're taking this hard, aren't you?
Yeah, hey.
Broken lab equipment. It looks like it was recently used, though.
I will never again.
I know.
Hi, Lawrence. How are you holding up?
Having a really bad day.
Me too. I can't believe Zachary's dead.
Yeah. And Patrick is really hounding me around. He sent me here to find a button he believes he lost. But I think he's just trying to be alone with the new girl, Elaine.
Why don't you just stay here for a while and relax? Looks like you need it.
That sounds really nice. I think I will, thanks.
Come on, Oliver. I understand why you're so upset. It's such a shock to all of us.
So, Madame Carlyle wants a picture taken. If you were to assist with the missing figures, I'm sure the portrait would be one for the ages.
The family's open to be done any moment now.
I need this shoot to happen, okay? And I need it to be perfect. Can't we just... Do you mind? I need to be left alone, okay?
Rosie thinks she's in love with young Patrick.
I mean, that's a breaking heart happening if I ever saw one. Alexa, back from the dead, a make-believe funeral, a murder mystery. Oh, all too much. But he was such a gentleman. He gave me his coat and all.
Rosie, you need to forget about Patrick. No good's gonna come of it. Stick to your own kind.
You mean like Chris? He treated me like shit. All he wanted to do was play his stupid video games, never any romance. I deserve romance.
That is the door to Mr. Fernsby's office.
Painkillers. Lethal if you use enough of them.
But not the poison used to kill Zachary. Of course, Madame Carlyle doesn't know that. Are you considering to frame the butler, 47? Zachary's diary. This is big. He was about to confess to the world that he and Alexa murdered their older brother Montgomery 46 years ago. And apparently, Mr. Fernsby helped make the murder look like an accident. And 47, the handwriting doesn't match the suicide letter in his room, proving he didn't write it himself. Mr. Fernsby clearly didn't commit the murder, but I think you have enough evidence to convince Madame Carlyle he did. Maybe you should tell him you are ready to present your findings. Unless, of course, you want to do some more detecting, 47?
The 41 guests will attend the funeral tomorrow. There's still a lot to see to, but we're in good time, I think.
Rosie, tell me what you did last night.
I'm in trouble, aren't I? I spent the evening with Patrick. We met after dinner and I went home at 1 in the morning. He said he needed someone real to talk to. When he looks at you, it makes you feel like the center of the universe. Like a real princess.
But now he just ignores her.
Well, he's under a lot of pressure.
He's an idiot. That's what he is.
Did you notice anything out of the ordinary? Any strangers outside the house?
No, we saw no one outside. Except Patrick's mother, Emma. We were sitting on the bench behind the greenhouse talking when she came out and we had to hide. You won't tell her about me and Patrick, will you? She'd insist Madame Carlyle fire me. I'm sure of it.
Too right she will. She's always going on about how things will change once she's in charge of Thornbridge Manor.
How are things coming along inside? Is everything ready for tomorrow?
Fake funeral tomorrow. Zachary found dead upstairs today. Death is everywhere. I never thought of it that way. Oh, God. It's such a big responsibility having a baby. I have to protect it, right? How do you even do that? I can't do that.
You'll be fine, Robbie. It's the career.
For God's sake, Emma.
But why don't we get any kind of explanation? It's bloody rude, that's what it is. Making us come here to play funeral and then show up like nothing's the least bit strange.
Oh, don't get your knickers all twisted.
I'm telling you, she's not fit to be in charge anymore.
Gregory Carlyle, can you tell me where you were yesterday evening?
Oh, you're wondering about my alibi, Mr. Detective. Well, I left Thornbridge around 8:30 for a pint with Edward. I wish I hadn't. Quiz night at the inn. On the other hand, staying here with Zachary, my obnoxious sister, and the wife sporting another one of her headaches would have been a fate worse than death. The short of it, Zachary was very much alive when we left. I stayed for the last shout, and I was back here just before midnight. Is that all?
Tell me about Zachary.
Zack? Huh. Such a sad old sod. A bit heavy on the bottle, but who could blame him? Only company he had was his rare plants and mother, who travels more than she stays here. Honestly, I can't say which is the bigger bore. He's better off dead. Anything else you want to...
Anything else you'd like to tell me?
Nothing, really. I'm just enjoying the show. Our perfect mother obviously fucked up, didn't she? Faking her own death. You know, she's explained nothing to us. I think she's scared to own up to her own mistake.
Emma Carlyle, can you tell me where you were yesterday evening?
Surely I'm not a suspect.
I need to account for everyone.
Well, I spent the evening with my family, but I got an awful migraine and had to take to bed. Everyone can attest to that. I believe I went up when the boys sat down for a drink around 8 o'clock. Is that all?
How did you feel about Zachary?
I might as well be honest. His presence was always awkward. But how do you have a meaningful conversation with a man who only cares about plants? In my opinion, Alexa bears some responsibility for how this ended. She supported his self-limiting behavior by letting him live here. Anything else you want to know?
Have you noticed anything else out of the ordinary?
Nothing special comes to mind. Except, perhaps, I did get a feeling that Zachary was depressed, not just sad. I suppose he realized that he had no one with Alexa gone. Even Alexa must feel the pangs of guilt over that one, letting him believe she was dead. Then again, guilt isn't her strong suit.
All day, he pours emotion into that instrument.
You have a way with words, Dan.
That's a little too close.
Professor Edward Carlyle, can you tell me your whereabouts for last night?
Oh, yes, this dreadful business with Zachary. I stay at the local inn. You see, I prefer not to spend the night here at Thornbridge Manor. My brother Gregory came along for a nightcap. He'll never admit it, but I think he understands that I find this whole thing upsetting and wanted to provide some comfort. I believe we went to the Stag's Head around 8:30. Anything else I can do to help?
Can you tell me about Zachary's behavior last night?
I certainly didn't expect him to commit suicide. Sure, he was upset by Mother's supposed death. We were. But he seemed more engaged than usual. You should ask Rebecca. They had a long talk. Did you know that he hadn't left Thornbridge Manor in nearly 50 years? His plants, Mother, and the staff, all the company he had. If that's all, I have a speech to write.
Did you notice anything else out of the ordinary?
You mean apart from the fact that we came here to bury our mother and she shows up alive and kicking? Zachary found dead in his bed this morning? Or perhaps that the planned funeral is still taking place and I have to do the eulogy? And Mother will surely have a strong opinion on it afterwards. I can't breathe. Excuse me. Yeah, hi. I know I'm not supposed to leave you messages, and this is the last time, I promise. It's just, I don't know how to handle this.
Okay, am I missing out on something here?
I can't do my legs. My eyes are not working. You can't tell anyone. But the thing is, I've been asked to perform eulogy at the funeral. But even though Mother is still alive, we still have to go through it. I have to write the eulogy. I don't think I trust. She will definitely won't read it, no matter. I just know she'll be disappointed. Yes. I mean,
Greetings, sir.
Incredibly dangerous situations, right?
I
Maybe
should
we should get
let
back
you
to...
get back to...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please don't. Oh!
Gotta go.
How's everything coming today?
Very well, Mr. Fernsby.
Make sure you focus on your work.
I will.
I don't need one more maid crying in the kitchen. So watch yourself around young Mr. Patrick.
Don't worry about me.
Mr. Patrick, can I do anything for you?
Yes, actually. Could you speed up time so I don't die from boredom? I fear I may not survive.
He's good.
Kind of you, dear Mr. Fernsby. I hope to see you soon.
Creepy old git.
I'm ready to present my conclusion to Madame Carlyle.
Very well. If you'll follow me, sir.
How tall are you? You can be more.
Right.
Hello there, sir. Just keep calm.
How are you, sir?
This is Madame Carlyle's office. Please step inside.
Your detective skills have gained you access to the Lion's Den, 47. Now, go claim your reward.
So, Mr. Whitmer, you've reached a conclusion. Take a seat. Please, go ahead.
The butler, Mr. Fernsby, killed Zachary.
Fernsby? Oh, you've got that wrong. He would never do such a thing. He is the most loyal man I have ever met.
I found pills in his office that matches the poison that killed your brother. Furthermore, I found Zachary's notebook, half burned, in Mr. Fernsby's fireplace. It showed that Zachary intended to publish a written confession to a murder the two of you committed nearly 50 years ago. The murder of your older brother, Montgomery.
That's outrageous. We did no such thing.
No need to feign innocence. I know.
Please remain seated, Mr. Whitmer. Thank you. Now, where were we?
No need to feign innocence. I know a killer when I see one, and my discretion is assured. The papers also described how Mr. Fernsby helped you stage the murder of Montgomery as an accident. I believe he killed Zachary not to be exposed as an accomplice to murder.
Sweet Fernsby. You are wrong, Mr. Whitmer. He did not do it to protect himself. He did it to protect the Carlyle legacy. Mr. Fernsby, like myself, understands that sacrifices must be made to secure stability and prosperity. Mr. Whitmer, I'd appreciate it if your findings never leave this room. I understand Fernsby's actions, and there is no need for them to have more consequences than they already have. Fernsby was very fond of Zachary, and I am sure his decision will haunt him to the day he dies. About your reward, have you considered an amount?
I want the file you have on Arthur Edwards.
Arthur Edwards, the Constant. But that must mean you're... I expected you'd show up. But you're not here to kill me. If you were, you would have already. The enemy of my enemy, I suppose. You can have it. You earned it. The file you want is in the safe. Good hunting. I need some privacy. Thank you.
Good work, 47. That's the file on Arthur Edwards secured. Time to take care of Madame Carlyle. Mission complete. Well done, 47.
Hey, how you doing?
I can't forget his eyes.
You're not allowed here. I'm getting help.
.47. They're everywhere. Go, get out! It's the Constantine. Shit!
Yes, Sarsky. Hey, hey.